Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. I hope you're well. It is Wednesday, normal stream day. So, P. Gorley, I don't know if you were asking if Thindle's going to be on voice channel on the stream, but that would be Fridays, where we have community day and we use voice channel. Today's just plain old me. Sorry, it's not Thindle. He does have his own stream, though, you know. Hi Mojo. Hi Zush. Zush. Z. Do. I mean, I assume so since on Clay's stream, he was showing off some more stuff that Foolish Schnabel, anyway, was adding with doing command line stuff using graphics and shaders and fun stuff like that. So I'm sure he'll want to show it off here too. Yeah. But yeah, it's Wednesday. We're just going to do some financial management tracker stuff, which, first of all, Stream Elements didn't say anything about the stream starting. Second, is the bot going? Nye. Everything is broken. Let's go with... There's a banner for that. Firefox. But reconnecting now. But you're not reconnecting. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Which is being weird? Let's go to services and restart the actual daemon. Restart the daemon. TwitchBot service. Estapu. Startu. There you go. And connect with Twitch. Twitch might be denying my request. Response, no response. Hi Deflux. Happy Wednesday to you. Status is blocked. Malware bites. Oh my goodness. Malware bites, no. Localhost. Why aren't you letting me? Why is it not letting me? You know what? We just need to disable it. You're trying to be helpful, but guess what? You are not being helpful. Okay, So if anyone is having trouble with a bot that is browser-based, check to see if you have the Malwarebytes extension installed. That I think got automatically installed, or it forced its way into my browser somehow, and I was just like, go ahead, why not? And there we go. We now have a bot. Okay, I'm gonna also do one more thing before I get fully started, and that is that I'm going to create a quick PR for my work product. To ask Stepan to review it. And main project. Attributes. Okay. Duck. And run the pipeline on this branch. I'm almost there, promise. Promise. I promise. Run. Run away. Run away and never return. Okay. Mojo says, I want to go to sleep. I want to sleep. Good Lord. Traced a TLS issue for so long, and the fix was right in front of us. Which was what? Malwarebytes? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I need this turned up. Some good music playing on this station. You go there. We go. Boosh. All right. Deflux says, Malwarebytes used to be like the coolest antivirus. Thank you so much for the follower, or for the sub. I know how to read. For the resub. Urge. Edge. 2K. 6 months. Thank you. Thank you. Arigato. It was a key vault issue. So TLS 1.0 support was ending. It was a bit slow. It was a slow rollout, and it broke our app on Sunday night. And it was just a key vault issue. Asterisk. But yeah, so Malwarebytes used to be the coolest antivirus. Then they purchased the Adaware. I don't know what ADW is. I'm sorry. ADW tool. Okay, let's see what we don't have. We don't have the right project open. We don't have the correct project running. We don't have all of our tests run, but we do have the right stuff on screen. So here we go. Onward and upward. Oh, so we've been working on this financial management project for a while. Mostly because I just, here we go. I can't do it. Anyway, hi Captain Commerce. Oh man. I was lurking on your stream last night. I wasn't actually physically there because it's too late for me. And I do other things in the evenings, and it's already running. Already. Then why, pray tell? Why, pray tell, Are you being so rude? Oh my gosh. I don't know what I'm doing. Does anyone know what I'm doing? This goes over here. Actually, you know what? We can just close that one. We don't need that one at all. Ever. But yes. I'm also resubbed. My sub renewed. I really, really, really appreciate your content. Appreciate having another .NET developer that is as amazing or even more amazing. Holy ducats. All right. Mojo is saying framework 4.5.2 defaults to TLS 1, and we didn't have it installed in our Key Vault or instantiated in our Key Vault code. TLS protocol you didn't have? So on your for your Key Vault you have TLS 1.2. I think is what you're saying. Correct. Whoa. I don't like being correct. I want to be wrong all the time. No, not really. I wanted to share with your audience that Seto is taking a break from his Unity game development to continue his .NET 7 bot development and integration with OpenAI, among other integrations. Shout out. Well, actually, first shout out goes to Captain Commerce. Which is Edgay. I think. Urge. I don't know. I don't know things. Without that one line of code, security protocol, it was the call, or the call was 1.0 previously, and it needed to be updated to 1.2. No worries. It was the call was. I know what you meant though. It used to say 1.0. And yes, Edgay, aka Urge, aka Captain Commerce, is all Captain Commerce. Later in the day, I should say. Wrong chat. Wrong chat. Who dis? K. KKKKKKKLMNO. My. I have no idea where I am. Okay, so I actually stopped the app. We're going to rerun it. Oh, as in he is going to stream later on in the day. Cool. So we may, if he's live by the time we're done, we may rate him. I love supporting people wanting to do any kind of development in general. I have been supporting mostly game devs because I want to watch people doing Unity work. Excuse me. Because I want to work in Unity as well. Not for game dev, but it's a lot of the same principles for the things that I want to accomplish. I do have a new project that I think I want to pursue. Maybe we can do it on stream, but it is going to be a pretty complex project. Yes. And there's a settling spot. Okay, come on. I was about to say, so we restyled the calculator. We restyled the... That's scary. Oh, because we're on main. Where are we on main? I don't remember what we went to main for, but I do remember that we purposefully went to main after doing the commit on Monday, but I don't remember why. So now that we are switched, we're waiting for the rebuild. And crash, subsequent crash. As expected. I don't know how far down too far is. It was actually pretty perfect where it was. Dang it. What? What? Two assets are targeting the same path. We have JS module targets from shared components. Draggable container.razor.js. And that's outputting to www root JS draggable components. Yeah, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. All right. This is where I think we need to configure the TypeScript rules so that it knows where to output our TypeScript file when it tries to compile. All right. I don't want it to output to here, which is the default for the TypeScript thing. So the place to configure that is in here. And we're essentially doing all JS interop star.ts is outputting to www root. I forgot about that. Hello, Semper Fidus. I'm learning C# for 6 months. Not sure if I should learn ASP.NET, Blazor, or app dev. Xamarin, any tips? Learn them all. If you learn Blazor, you won't be learning XAML or anything, but you will be able to create all of those app types. I do love Blazor because I am a web developer by trade. I've been doing it for the longest, even though I was mostly working on desktop apps before that. But anyway, point is, this project, for example, I have a WPF app, which is a desktop app, a Maui app, which takes place of the Xamarin app type. So if you want to target cross-platform for mobile, desktop, and Tizen, then use Maui instead of Xamarin. And then I have the two Blazor web project types. So Blazor falls into the broader category of ASP.NET. So you're more kind of deciding, do you want to go the desktop application development route or the web development route, which is ASP.NET, which includes Blazor. But Blazor, again, Blazor is just a way to write UI using a mix of HTML and CSS and C#, aka Razor syntax. Yeah, not a problem. So here you can see that I'm using a combination of regular HTML, C#. So this is actually a class and a variable, which just happens to be my localizer. And these teal-ish, more green than teal things are other components that will render HTML. So if we go into them, then we'll see that this card is just a div with a whole bunch of child content. And the child content will be card header, footer, and body, or body. And it will render in a very specific way, depending on what you provide to it. I didn't set this card up to be a full, robust card. Nice. Ignore this example of card. I have a more robust card on my GitHub if you are interested. I really need a Blazor component command. GitHub OneLion, Blazor component library. There's a better card here. So the card will actually render each part of the card in a specific place. And this is, again, you can see some C# in here where I'm using a control statement that says, if this, then render out the header for each body, because a card can have multiple bodies apparently in this version of it, then render the body, and then if it has a footer, then render the footer. Yeah, apparently we can have multiple bodies. So that'll still give you C# experience. It'll give you some web-oriented experience. But again, if you want to go pure mobile or desktop, oh yeah, before I say that, you learn Blazor, you have UI, and you can use that UI in any application type, any .NET application type for the most part. So for my WPF version, the only thing that it does is it has this thing called a Blazor Web View control. And it uses that Blazor UI as its own UI. And here's the proof. This is what the app looks like on the web. Actually, it's not really, but close enough. This is what the app looks like on the web. And this is what the app looks like on desktop, on Windows desktop. Dang it. Right, I need to fix that first. Easiest fix for this is to go to the draggable container, exclude the TypeScript file for now. And we should be able to run. That's my startup project. So Mojo is saying, I just got done going through the different ASP.NET types, and I may prefer Blazor over React now, but don't tell Deflex or OneLion. I mean, you can prefer whatever technology works best for you. Oh, man. I am not going to judge you for it. I'll judge you for other things, but not for choosing a programming technology that you think is best for a given situation. Or whatever you just happen to be comfortable with and you're like, I want to use this for everything, because I'd be a hypocrite if I was like, no, you can't do that. Use the right thing for the right job. Because I'm like, use Blazor for everything. Fineman Blazor UI, shared components, draggable components is a namespace. Build. Somebody build. 2 assets found using the same path. This is really hard to show you that you can use the exact same UI in the other apps when I can't even build the project at the moment. Oh, deity. Yeah, we were making changes on Monday to be able to have the calculator here be in a draggable window so you can move it anywhere around the app screen that you want. And they'll have a little collapse and expand thing on it too. So we were creating a reusable component where you can put anything inside of it that you want to be able to drag around your screen. Like, let's say we wanted to put this login form in there, and we'll show it once I get it up and running, that we could do that if we wanted to. Put the login form in there, put any of these cards in there, put the data entry links from the bottom footer, whatever we want, and then just have it be draggable everywhere. Yes, that is true. Hello, Felix. So I recently read that Microsoft is retiring Visual Studio for Mac, not VS Code, but Visual Studio for Mac. Do you have any suggestions on what could be the best approach for Mac users to work on .NET projects? I don't really have any recommendations because I don't use a Mac myself, and I haven't before, but I have heard that things like JetBrains works well. Writer, I guess. Yeah, VS Code should be good, but I don't have any progress, or not progress. I don't have any experience with that. Recently, Microsoft has done a bunch of Visual Studio things. I don't know why you're adding me, but anyway, things in VS Code. The other thing that you might look into is VS Code. I don't want to call it Codespaces because I'm pretty sure that's GitHub. There is a Visual Studio virtual machine workspace type of thing that you could get set up. I think that costs money though, where you can just go to your browser, go to the virtual machine. Yeah. Why aren't you failing? Just fail. That's cool though, yeah. The CS or .NET tools. And I recently installed .NET tools for my VS Code. Hi, Dukasoft. Yeah, I would recommend that for Mac. That's what I use on my Mac. That's awesome. So Deflux does have experience with that, and he says VS Code with the .NET tools extension. Thank you for that, Deflux. Okay, are you gonna stop creating this file now? Okay, can we show this now? Look, it's building. It's gonna build. So I'll show you. If you're still around, there is absolutely no like you make sure you pay attention kind of thing on this channel. But if you're still around, Semper, I will show you the app running in the desktop app using the exact same UI that I'm using in the web. And you're welcome, Felix. Feel free to ask any questions that you want. We are a mostly .NET development community. And we do have a lot of people that have opinions, which again, I don't mind opinions whatsoever as long as they are founded, grounded, and based on experience, and or based on experience. And not just, here's what I think the right answer should be without any grounding. Do the thing. Why is this taking so long? I got no docs. Dindle's here? Oh, because there's no docs all over the screen right now. So if you were interested in what you just saw on my screen, that masked out stuff, that was an extension for regular Visual Studio, not VS Code, called No Docs, where if you open any valid XML or JSON file, then your values will be hidden, will be masked. So for example, if I accidentally, while I was streaming, right-clicked on any of my projects and said manage user secrets, and I actually had secrets that I cared about in here, oops, dang it. So if your file is malformed, it'll just mask everything out. If you have comments, it'll mask out your comments. But otherwise, the normal behavior is you'll be able to see your key, your property names in a JSON file or in XML, and then your values will be masked unless you push show them. I just showed my secrets. Oh my gosh. This is just the path to my local database, so it's not a big issue. That's why I do that, by the way. Did that fail? Are you still gonna pass? You're still gonna pass. Okay, that's still gonna pass. Bindle is busy with that new Star game. Oh, lucky. I hope he's having fun with it. Why isn't this building though? Why are you struggling so much? It's been open for a while, so maybe I'm just gonna close it and reopen it. Build must be stopped. I wish I had a break key on my keyboard. Unsafe. Oh yeah, this is actually the scenario that happened to me a lot when I was streaming pretty much every day. I would have my project closed, and then I would open it on stream, and I would have forgotten that the last screen I was working in was my secrets. And so the project would load, and then suddenly it would pop up, and there's my secrets. But now, because of no docs, I don't have to be concerned with that anymore. Plug, 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 plug. It really is a cool, helpful little thing. It struggles with files over some ungodly number of megabytes, but that's to be expected. And then also, if you have the navigation view in your sidebar or as your scroll bar, if you mouse over certain areas and it gives you the pop-up bubble that shows you what content is where your mouse is, it doesn't mask those. But it's still really, really, really cool overall. Okay, so we're trying to see if we can build like a magic. And it keeps getting stuck at 95%. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so now I can show you the WPF version of this web app. It's a multi-platform application. I don't need this thing still. Okay, and so you can see that the user interface looks just like a mini mall. It looks just like the web version. And everything does work the same because it's all using the exact same code. It's using a HTTP client to do API request and crashing as well. No connection could be made because the target machine actively refused. Did I uncomment my secrets? I must have saved it after I uncommented it. I didn't. Oh yeah. You know what? It's probably the same issue that I just had with my bot. Malwarebytes blocked localhost port blah. So is that going to be an issue with our dev environments? Like that one was probably because it's using Edge or Chromium. And I still have Malwarebytes turned on for that, but my bot was not able to run or work because Malwarebytes was blocking it. Good times when the things meant to protect you make life harder. As I scratch my head. More follows. Thank you so much, Shimashiro. Thank you for the follow. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy your time here. Yes. Absolute epic fails. That's my favorite sound. Okay, so we recently finished the calculator functionality. I don't have the the delete button hooked up currently, or it's hooked up. It doesn't have code written for it because we haven't written a test for it yet, but we will write the test that says when you input numbers and you push the back button, then you will have certain expected values displaying. Two things that we want to get done for this calculator are to put it inside of a draggable container so that you can drag the calculator around the screen instead of it taking up the entire screen as a modal where you can't interact with anything behind it. And the other one is to be able to use the number pad or the number keys to input values. And we're starting with the draggable area. That's why you see this thing down here, because the draggable area is currently just a div with no styling, with no anythings. Here's our draggable container, and here is our draggable content. Yes, your child content. Wait, nope, that's the title. This is the draggable content, which is the calculator itself. All right, so let's have the calculator showing. Let's go back to our code. And again, feel free to ask any questions you want. Most of the time we spend on this stream just chatting and talking, but if I go to the just chatting tag, we will probably get a different audience, but that's fine. I'm going to stay in software and game development because for the most part, we are still doing some application development. Okay, draggable container. So the issue that I was just running into was that I have a configuration in my CS proj for TypeScript files to output to www.root/js. And the TypeScript files to compile are these. The issue is that if I want a TypeScript file to output to .razor.js, I don't exactly know how to configure this so that there's an exception to that specific file. I want this file here to output to draggable components, draggable container.razor.js. CS proj TypeScript configuration to output to specific location. Welcome, Napalm. Should we run? And they're saying use a tsconfig file. I've had mixed issues with tsconfig. Mixed results is what I meant to say. Stack Overflow is written in C#2. C#2, as our friend Irish John Games would say. Oh, speaking of, our next shout out goes to who did I say I was going to shout out? Oh, I guess Thindle for no docs. Unless you already did this, Dukesoft, because you're amazing at this. But anyway, there's a shout out for Thindle. We were talking about him earlier. He's the author of No Docs, among other things. His current streaming project is a modernization project going from .NET Framework to .NET Core on up. And I completely missed this comment from Reg9K, which is another name that has a K, a number K. Reg 9000 or Reg 9000. Anyway, the TLS to Mojo. The TLS deprecation has been 2 years now. I don't think anyone was using it. Most Chromium browsers had it deprecated. Interesting stuff. And then Mojo said back, framework 4.5.2 defaults to 1, and we didn't have it instantiated in our key vault code, and then told us about how he had to update that security point manage line, the one line of code, to TLS 12 from TLS 1.0. Deflex said his thing about Sedlix doing his .NET project, which looking forward to. It's going to be a lot of fun over there. You get good C# practice if you learn them all, definitely. I just got done doing different types of .NET, ASP.NET stuff. Yeah, the main thing that I think is hardest when people are getting started with learning how to do C# software development is there's so much confusion, in my opinion, around the naming of things in the .NET ecosystem. So we got the .NET SDKs, we got the .NET framework, which the actual thing called .NET framework is an SDK, but then .NET is a framework. So it's like, what? And now we have .NET Core on top of that, and then .NET with just a number, which is the natural continuation of the .NET Core stuff, but now it's just all one .NET. And it just confuses people, and it's like, what exactly am I learning? And then do I learn ASP.NET, or do I learn how to do MVC? And is MVC that overloaded term as well, which just stands for Model View Controller in computer science, if you're doing an architecture type thing. But they actually have a project type called MVC, which is a web project type that allows you to create web applications using models, views, and controllers. And then there's Razor Pages, which is not to be confused with Blazor, but Blazor does use Razor syntax, which is not Razor Pages. And it's like, it's a little too much to digest coming into .NET New. Yeah, and then Blazor versus Blazor WebAssembly versus Blazor Server, exactly. How many different flavors can you add? And now this new Blazor United, or whatever it's going to be called. Yeah, could have made it a little bit more simpler for people to digest what it is that they should pursue based on what their goals are, or what's even available. Like maybe you don't have goals, maybe you just want to do software development and you have no idea what kind. You just want to do software development. .NET Core, ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Core MVC. Peach Pie. I tried running WordPress on top of ASP today. Worked pretty good, but sadly their latest update is 6 months old. And Napalm said to Dukasoft, Peach Pie, ? Dukasoft said, yep. So apparently he knows what he's talking about. And then .NET Standard. What is .NET Standard? Kind of thing. Do you use a Razor class library? Do you use a regular class library? Do you use a .NET Standard when you're creating a regular class library? Do you use .NET Core? Oh my gosh, there's way too many. There are way too many parts and pieces that aren't intuitive to someone just coming into .NET development. in my opinion only. There are probably people that got it right off the bat, but I'm not one of them. Okay, so the thing that I'm looking for, by the way, is how do I configure my TypeScript compiler, transpiler, I guess, to output my TypeScript for this one file to this location? Is there, let's do this first. So we know it doesn't build currently when I just include the file into the app, like so. What I am inclined to do is to tell this thing to go ahead and output to www root, which it's going to do when I build. And so we will see now a reload projects, a folder in www root. Oh, closed itself. Aye. Man, that completely hosed it. Yeah, it's not even gonna see it now. I shouldn't have had the file open when I re-added the TypeScript file. I wish there was something like compiler config. I mean, there is tsconfig, but I don't think it works the same. Does anyone know how to use tsconfig in a .NET project? Because I've definitely tried it before. Instead of using these rules here, draggable components, draggable container, Blazor TS. So like I would like for this specific TypeScript file to output not to my TypeScript output directory www.root/js, but to the same place .js. But I don't think this is a valid prop attribute on TypeScript compile. What did I say? Not tsconfig? I did say tsconfig. Yeah, it's doing a pretty not helpful job of handling my current TypeScript. And how, pray tell, do you just shut it off? Yeah, exactly. Like, this is the approach that I'm taking in my work product, and that is because all of my TypeScript files are compiling or transpiling to the www root JavaScript folder. And I don't have a problem with that personally, but I would prefer to keep my generated JavaScript with my component. So if we built now, actually, if we unloaded the project and we reloaded the project, and then we built this city, Why is it not anymore? Oh dear. Copy. Delete. Save. Okay. Shift to F2. So that should have updated. Why is it not updating this anymore? And now it's not even updating my rules. All right, what if you did anything anywhere? There. Okay. So anywhere in this project, if there is a .ts, then TypeScript compile it to www.root.js and then wherever that path was. So in this case, we have JS interop, my JS interop, and we have draggable components, draggable container.razor.js. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. In fact, I want my JS interop to be at the top level of www.root.js. Just so very confused. Yeah, and now it's time. And so that's just part of the normal. Napalm is asking, how do I get the build progress bar? When you do a build, you get this window, which usually is tall and in the way, and oftentimes it's a tool window in your vertical tabs or across the top. So I just quickly, I had a build that took a long time, or I just kept rebuilding and rebuilding until I could position it to be right on top of this tool window. Tukasoff said, might sometimes build. That's what MS stands for. Deflux says, I'm not sure what you're saying, Deflux. You seeing latest Visuals Studio? Because I think it's difficulty. Deflux. If you're going to be typing and drinking, no, I'm kidding. Try again. Use words that I can understand. What's the name of the window? Build progress. Oh, it's code made. I lied to you. It's not default. I really thought it was default. Maybe it's because I've had code made installed for like 80 years. I knew it wasn't. I thought it was default also. Oh, I understand what you were typing, Deflux. So Deflux was asking if I was using the latest Visual Studio because I think it's default. Uh-huh. Got it. Okay. Yeah, it's really hating that I have a .razor.js file that doesn't have, that's not next to a .razor. So we're gonna cheat for now, but let's make a backlog item for this where it will still output this as regular JavaScript, and it should build when I don't have the .razor.ts, which will output to .razor.js. So that's my theory. And here is the proof. And now you have some pudding. It does build. And it's, again, because I'm not using .razor. But that means that when we do our isolated JavaScript, we're going to be referencing a file that will be in content www or content.js, draggable components, draggable container.js. What's the extension? CodeMade, yes. CodeMail. CodeMade VS 2022 specifically. Arigato di flux. Arigato momichi. Yeah, I just want but the other stuff is pretty good. Like one-click cleanup for the entire project is pretty nice. And then, but like a lot of these functionality things are now part of the daily life of Visual Studio. Like cleanup profiles. That's what it's called. Yeah, analyze, code cleanup profile. Sharper gets in the way with that stuff, and Visual Studio is building them in. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I need to figure out if I am using www.root.js, my interop.js. Yes, I am. Instead of JS_interop, my interop.js. And I need to use this one. And the reason I need to use this one is because when I make changes to the TypeScript JS_interop, it's going to rebuild this one, not the regular JS/my interop.js. So many things. All of the so many things. All right. Anyway, here we go. The reason that we need JavaScript for this draggable container is because we need to get back. Actually, do we? We're going to try this without JavaScript. Do you think we can do it with just C# and HTML and CSS, of course? Like, I think the hard one is going to be on drag, getting the mouse coordinates back, screen coordinates. Okay. Again, you are draggable container, like so. And you're going to have a class of draggable dash container so that it's easier to style you. All right, so I need that. I need my draggable container dot sass, like so. Okay, so our draggable container is going to be position fixed. Fixed? No, it would have to be absolute. Position absolute. The reason that I went to fixed first is because if the draggable container is inside of another element that's position relative, then it will be, it could go negative X and Y, right? It could go negative X and Y. Anyway, and then the way that we're going to move it around the screen is by updating its top and left attributes, CSS properties. So we do style. We will have a variable that will provide that for us. So add style will be something like position styles. I don't know what we're going to call it. Position styles works for me, which is going to be a private string position styles. And we're going to have to, yes, that. We're going to have to declare these two and update them manually. But only if at least one of them has a value. So we're going to make it a nullable string. Okay, which means that we will have private, I don't know where we're going to get back. I think an int, nullable int. Hello, Irish John Games. I am sorry I couldn't give you more information, but you looked overwhelmed. You looked like you were going to be talking or looking it up later anyway, but about using cancellation tokens. If you're interested, I can show you how I'm using cancellation tokens in this app. They need an int probably type. I mean, that's kind of what this is. This is int-ish. Int prob. You found something cool this morning about it and watched it for Unity even. That's cool. So you have more information on what to use cancellation tokens in a game for. That's awesome. You'd like it too, honestly? Well, if you want to link the video, I am all for watching anything that will increase my experience and knowledge in that. And I will watch it after we're done with the stream. I'll just put it in the video. We'll watch the video. Never actually seen anyone implement cancel functionality. Okay, well, real quick, Napalm, this is going to be a whirlwind tour of how I use the cancellation token. Cancellation token source. And this is the common case of when I would use the cancellation token source. Yeah, this is the account summary. Can I run yet? So you can actually see. True. It is a small world. Again, I'm so glad that I get to be a part of your community, Irish John Games, because you got some amazing people there, and they hang out here too. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of you guys knew Irish John and found me out through him, not the other way around. Okay, so account summary here. That was loading, and then well, that's not a good one. What's a good one? I mean, all of my stuff happens super fast. I'm connected to a local server, so there's very little lag between my application request and the database. Here's a good one. Maybe. Type ahead controls. Do you guys know what type aheads are? They are the things that when you start typing, it gives you a drop-down list or auto-completion list for what you're typing. That usually requires sending your current text to the server, to a server, if you haven't already preloaded all of this stuff. And it gives you back a list of matches if it's doing a database lookup. Like, that's what I plan on implementing for all of my drop-down lists, turning them into type aheads where you can start typing the name of the place and then it'll give you suggested items, even though there aren't enough. Once again, there's not enough items to justify needing to go to the server to get the list every time. But if there was, then as I'm typing, I would start the database search after 30 milliseconds of not typing. So people tend, and then now it would look it up because I paused, and then I hit D. If that lookup is still in process, I want it to cancel that lookup, start a new lookup with my new term that I'm looking for. To type a little fat, and then stop, and then so that kind of thing. So I would have a cancellation token source that is declared class at the class scope. And then on lookup, on my event that tells it to do the lookup, the first thing that I would do is cancel any existing lookups. So if there is something that's already performing a lookup on my server, I'll say stop. Don't look up anymore. I don't want your information. I'm going to start a new one. Then I create a new cancellation token source, grab that token, and then use that in my next lookup. So that's currently what's happening with my account summaries. If I actually, you know what? That's an easier way to show this. That's an easier way to show this. I got it. I know how I can illustrate this. You go down here. Account summary page. Account summary component. Oh, is down here. And this thing has a button. Click. And what's the name of this thing? Refresh account summary. No. Oops. Just refresh account summary. Okay, so I now have a button that I can click to refresh my account summary. This stuff here. And so now it's loading and we'll watch our network traffic. I push refresh account summary and it does summaries and it's going to go way too fast. So let's put in an artificial delay. Let's say it takes 3 seconds on the server for it to be able to refresh the account summary. Wait, task, delay, at least 3 seconds, plus however much time it takes to actually do the lookup. Reload. Nope. Refresh. Okay, so there we go. It's going to take 3 seconds before it actually gives me anything back from now on. And what you will see is if I refresh during that time, I'm canceling the previous request and only using the most recent one, and that's what will give me the latest data. There. So I do that with my lookup lists, where it's doing all of my lookup list at the same time, but if something updates while I am getting my list of lookups, and it's going to cancel the request and then give me the most recent list. So that's how I use cancellation tokens. Again, I also do this for if you start typing a thing and you have a component library and you have a type ahead component, then you can I paused. Oh, wait, I actually need to use some actual... I paused, and now it did the lookup, but if that lookup takes a long time, then I type something else. It interrupts the previous lookup, does a new lookup, cancels that. Yeah, so those are my uses. Now I'm going to catch up on chat. There was some good conversation going on. If you add it to your API and HTTP calls in Blazor, it will cancel your request when, for example, your component gets disposed. That's another great reason. So typically another pattern is on dispose, cancel any pending requests that are specific to this component. You don't need them anymore if you can't see the component and the output. Good one, Slug. When implemented correctly, of course. And then Napalm said, not sure, but if you have a SPA calling an API, don't you have to send cancellation to the server? So yeah, you do. And that's where you will see in my code when I'm using client-side code that needs to go through a HTTP client to do a request to an API. I showed you the server-side implementation, which is the actual database lookup here, but if we look at the client-side, oh, that's what's going on. You're taking up too much space. If we look at the client-side implementation, then you'll see that I'm just accepting a cancellation token being passed into it. The cancellation token is then added to the HTTP client .get put post delete, whatever it is that I'm doing, and I pass the cancellation token along to that request. This goes to my API controller, in this case the accounts controller, which also receives the cancellation token and then forwards that to the server-side implementation of the method. So the same cancellation token is being persisted from the call itself to the API or to the server-side service. And so if it's canceled, then it will bubble up all the way through each of those. And I do believe that all of my cancellation tokens are set up to be throw if cancellation requested. Otherwise, I would have had to, for every single one of these, do some process, check to see if CT is cancellation requested, return something. Yeah. That's my usage of cancellation tokens and cancellation token source in a nutshell. Will there be a VOD? Yes, there will be a VOD for today's stream and all of the streams up until today, which Irish John Games was the one that posted it. Thank you so much for that. Guys, Irish John Games is amazing. Definitely check out his streams. They are a blast. Check out his game on Steam with 2 R's? Oh, 3 R's, yes. Check out his game on Steam, which Stream Elements probably recently shouted out. No, it didn't. Okay. Check out his game on Steam. It's called Rise of Piracy. It's going to be amazing when it comes out. He's doing a lot of really good detail work currently on it. At least I'm calling it detail work. It's looking really, really good. If you're not following him yet, there is your opportunity to, right up there. Anyway, thank you. So I do post all of my videos, my VODs to YouTube, no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream because Twitch affiliate stuff. And then we also have a Discord that you are welcome to join, no pressure whatsoever. We have a lot of people there that are willing to answer any questions you might have, or if someone else has a question that you might want to help out with, we really appreciate that too, as well as, along with. Okay. So yeah, so you guys were already talking about that. You don't have to pass it yourself. That is correct. You don't have to pass that cancellation token to an API endpoint. It gets it for free, but you don't really have an easy way of telling this thing to cancel from the origin calling method. unless you're the one providing that cancellation token. But yeah, client side, man, I love your comments, Sloic. Thank you so much. Except for you should look it up on Google. No, we can talk about it. Ooh, and thank you, Sir Barkerlot, for the follow. Loving the name. Napalm said, wait, did I skip anything? So that is Blazor. What about JavaScript? I don't know. I'm a Blazor developer. I don't really use JavaScript all that often unless I have to. Or do you mean passing a cancellation token to your JavaScript interop call? Because you can do that too, for sure. Another follow. Thank you, DroKid. Or is it Dr. O-Kid? Anyway, thank you. Really appreciate it. I think I should, because I thought I read if you hit the stop button on a request, it'll somehow cancel if you're using the tokens. Yeah, I mean, like, if your API controller has actions that use the cancellation token, which I have no idea why these don't. Really should be passing the cancellation token there too. Even if I wasn't providing it, these method actions or these controller actions would get a cancellation token by default. And so if in the browser you push stop, for example, then that cancellation token will get canceled, and then anything that you're using that cancellation with, so for example, your server-side methods, they will also use that cancellation token to cancel. Otherwise, what will happen is the website will stop, the request will stop on the web, but your server will continue running for up to whatever the timeout period is for a request, or until it completes. And then it'll just try to return and return to nothing. Good times. It also works if you test it in, for example, Postman. Yes, thank you for saying that. And even the browser understands canceled. Absolutely. I didn't mean to explain it to you, Irish John. Napalm said it, and I was just like, now's a good time to talk about it. I love talking about it. Let's all talk about it. Funny how in my career no one bothers. Yeah. I use it in our desktop application for, you start a test, like I have a button that says start test, and that test could run for a really long time. So I have a cancel button for that test, and if you push cancel, then it sends the cancellation, catches the exception, task canceled exception. By the way, when you do use throw if canceled, where's the client side implementation? Dude, what's it even called? Account service. Account service. Shared client. Hello? There you are. Okay, so I don't have it in here. Okay. If you cancel it, because ct is throw if cancellation requested, that's what it's called. The exception that you should be looking for is task canceled exception. The operation exception happens when you stop using the browser, when you stop the request via the browser. I'm pretty sure. I think that's the difference between them. Yeah, and I think the more appropriate way to do this, I don't really know what the right one is. I honestly don't know the syntax, the correct syntax. And you know what else is weird? I do have one thing that I'm kind of nitpicky. Not nitpicky, nitpicking. And that is their usage of the spelling of canceled. So the cancellation token source and the cancellation token are spelled with 2 L's, which is the British way, or European way, I guess. And the American spelling is used for the exceptions. I don't care which one is used. I would just prefer for it to be consistent. I mean, like, hopefully you'll see everywhere that I use canceled or canceling or cancellation, I use 1 L everywhere because that's the decision that I made. Consistency. Peter. Hello, Peter. If you Google .NET cancellation token and API and look at the first link from Medium, you see that it just doesn't matter what front end you use, just that the request gets marked as canceled by the client and .NET will understand. Peter's here. Next shout out is for Deflux Streams, who streams on occasion. I don't know if you have a set schedule yet, Deflux, but he does also stream .NET stuff, working with Azure lately. Good times. On a good day. Obviously. Wow, I'm sleeping today. Thanks, Irish John. Hi, sleeping today. Oh my goodness. Oh, and Bardak, he just went offline too. Also, as well. Peter says, I'm secretly here to Mojo. Did you just call someone out that's lurking? That's mean. Peter, where you at? Dr. OKID. It'd be cool if that's how you pronounce it. I like that too. See what you started? Or maybe I started it. I forget. Point is, we have fun on our stream. We talk about software development stuff. It doesn't matter whether I get stuff done on the project or not. The whole point of this is to talk about Blazor, C#, .NET, and that's what we're doing. And I love it. I love talking with you guys about it. Mojo said to Peter, imagine getting an error warning logged every day for months that said, hey, you're still using TLS 1.0, and then not doing anything about it. Yeah, that I get. It's a waste of resources letting that thing run in high scale situations. Yeah, absolutely. They need a cancellation token so we can cancel the cancellation token. See, these are things that only you could say, and you could say them fluidly. Just thinking about it. Does IJG implement the cancellation token? Oh, because it's capital I, capital R. You're an interface. Irish John Games. Are you an interface? Because if so, your naming conventions are a little off with that lowercase r. Word has it that Jern doesn't even know what that be. Yar. Peter said to Mojo, sounds like us. Seriously, I tried really hard to get one smaller side project or application to have zero noise errors, and it felt great. And then I looked at our main app and we are not close to having zero noise errors, which of course makes finding non-noise errors tougher. True. Dang it, Irish John. I'm going to start responding to every single one of my comments with true, thanks to you. I blame you so much. And that one would be the God token. It just shuts down the server, cancels all the things. Yeah, that's called a power outage, or just logging into the server and doing a shutdown. Peter said to me, solve the problem by spelling it with 3 L's, and anytime someone complains about it, add another L. Yes. I use 86th. Next is what I use. I don't know what we're 86ing, but yes. I've already forgotten. And then we shouted out Deflex. Bardeki had OBS issues. Oh, yeah, that's the problem with lurking without sound currently. Like, I have most of you on 1%, and then one streamer at a time on like 15% audio. Not gonna lie, it's almost always John. But thankfully, he starts his stream later in the day, so I can listen to people like Finite or Code Rad or It's Oik. Tyrant's here. Hello, Tyrant. Mojo says, this sounds beautiful. I want to do this. So, like, the problem with replying is you can't always see the most recent thread response. So this is a response to the trying to reduce the number of noise errors. Yeah. Noise. Anyway, Tyrant said I had to add something to the Windows APIs, and I had to choose between canceled and canceled. The API team was not helpful, as they said both are correct and both are used in .NET Framework. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, in the apps that I've touched, I've gone through and actually updated all of my spellings when I am the one providing the term canceled. Even our localizations, I updated the English spelling to be 1 L and the UK spelling to 2 L's. That's just a me thing. I'm caught up. Okay, let's take one more step forward then. So in our app, we've been working on this calculator, and in the calculator, we've been working on this draggable area. So now you can see the draggable area is position absolute, because this is the title of the draggable area. We made it position absolute. We're going to allow it to be... Oh, yeah, that's what's going on. Our calculator also is currently inside of a modal, and we put the calculator inside of the draggable area, which includes the modal. Except I have no idea where this stuff is. Did I actually save position styles? I did. I did. Cool. Where's the calculator? There you are. Oh, hi, Peter. With Z-index 1000. What to do. So I try not to use, I try not to skip too many Z-index numbers because it's rare that I need to use Z-index. But I think that's what I will make a rule for myself to do from now on. If it's a modal or a side drawer or a whatever this is going to be, this draggable area, then I will start counting from 1000. And if it is just a regular element like the header on a page, then that's still just going to start at 1. Calculator's on my desk, and yeah, the Z-index is an issue sometimes. I think I showed this meme because it's one of my favorite. There's the 1 million one. I like that one. Z-index, some massive number. You've come this far. No going back now. Oh, it's so hard to find my favorite one though. It's the why isn't this working? And then they like put Z index at 10, and then the next time they set it to 100, 1,000. Yes. When you put Z index 99999, but you still can't see your div. Yeah. Anyway, it's a thing. It's also a mood. I have no idea what that even means. Okay. I'm lost. So anyway, that's my point about this. It's going to be the same Z index essentially for all modals, for all pop-up type things. And that way, if I start with maybe like I have a edit window up, and I want to launch the calculator, this edit window currently has a Z index of, yeah, it's you. I would say 1,000 off the top of my head. Excuse me, are you the modal container? No, you're the modal wrapper. I don't see a Z index set on it. It's just position fixed. Anyway, if this thing had a Z index of 1,000 and then I open the calculator on top of it, then that would have a Z index of 1,000 as well, but it would be drawn, would it be drawn later? It depends on the element order at that point in time. Crap. So it really does need to be this Z index, a modal's default Z index. Oh, it's right here. Okay, that's the decision I made. I'm using CSS variables to calculate Z index so that I know which one will be on top of which one. It's kind of smart, but is it really the thing that I want to do? So like a modal Z index is going to be the flyout Z index plus 1. The calculator, no, the draggable Z index is going to be the modal Z index plus 1. And that way, whenever I have a draggable, I mean, that I don't like that. Because sometimes you want a draggable that's just on the bottom of the screen. So I'm gonna do this instead. Draggable is not gonna have a fixed Z index or a default Z index even. I'm pushing Alt Tab when I mean to push Control Tab. So that goes away, but what I will need is my usage of it, which is where? No, I said usage. Do you know how to look for usage? In top bar. Ooh, it's in top bar. Anyway, this is the thing that's going to have, yeah, I don't like it in top bar. Anyway, this is the thing that's going to have, good gravy, man. This is not good. I can't target this thing from CSS, from isolated CSS, because in order to use, in order to target any of the CSS inside of this child component for my top bar, I would need to use : deep. However, : deep needs the component, the child component that you're trying to target to be inside of another container. So I would need to do it that way. So now I'm pretty much making div soup where I have a div wrapping a div wrapping a div modal. Calc. So let's make an ID. Calc container. There, now it's important. Now it has meaning. So calc container, deep, draggable container. We'll have a Z index of var modal Z calc modal Z index +1. In that way, the draggable container that's specifically for the calculator is the thing that we are applying the Z index to. Not all draggable containers, just this one in particular. Particular. Good? Good. So now we can see that the calculator showed up on top of the modal. I just don't have a way to open the calculator on purpose currently. But that's fine. We'll get to that. Or while the modal is open is what I mean. Okay, so our draggable container is that big. Here's calculator, which we were looking for before, which, like I said, we are inside of a modal, which is not good because the structure that I have has the formula output in the header area of the modal. So what I think I would prefer to do is change this from modal to a card. Well, this is going to be like surgery. So I'm going to keep the modal there, but we'll start with a card. And the card header will be this content. Thank you for trying, Copilot. Sorry I clicked away. You're probably giving me the right answer. Card body, card text next? No? Okay, just kidding. Card body, card text. And card text is going to be this, and there is no footer. Okay, what does that look like? It looks like 2 calculators in 3. No, it doesn't, because template in modal is position fixed, takes up the entire screen. I don't want to get rid of all of it. Okay. Ooh, calculators. My biggest issue regarding Z-index, says Dukasoft, is when stuff gets placed above the scroll bar. Like on top of the scroll bar. Mine was understanding the concept of containers and not containers being like Docker and other technologies like that. But if you have an element, let's say this card specifically here, inside of this div, regardless of what Z-index you give this card, it's going to be no further to the front, no closer to you in the positive Z direction than this div. And so that was really hard for me to... Now that I say that, thank you for stating that, Dukasoft, because I just made a boo-boo. A boo-boo. In top bar, I just told the draggable container to be Z-index this after putting it inside of another container. And so the thing that needs Z-index +1 is the actual container that I put it inside of. That's not good. I don't know what that's going to do. I can picture it kind of in my head. So we'll put a border on it. That should be over here. Let's make it bigger so we can see it. Okay. Oh, it's down here. Okay, good. So you can see that it will get the border like this. When I start dragging it, I don't know what's going to happen to this div, because right now the div is in line. And I just said the draggable area is the thing that's going to be dragoned across the entire screen. Position absolute is what I was trying to say. But the container is not position absolute. The container is just the container. It's position static by default. And so I would only be able to move the draggable area inside of that container. And the position absolute is, at this point, relative to that container. Oh no. John says, in response to Duka's issue with setIndex, I once had to make an IE8 app work with IE5.5. SetIndex didn't exist for elements before IE6. Knowledge I wish I didn't have, 2008. Oh, I'm sorry. But you have the experience now. That's a thing. Oh man. Okay, so this is bad news, Berto. Why am I still seeing the calculator, by the way? We shouldn't be seeing the calculator in a modal at the moment. I got rid of the modal. I have pending changes. We'll get back to the TypeScript question eventually. Hello, President Not Sure. John says, this experience is so valuable. Does anyone want knowledge transfer? President Not Sure said pass. John Web Services. While time.timescale is greater than 0, returns web service .value decrement. Means forever? What is the type on value property? He knows where I was going with that. Okay, so if I click this, then we should only see the calculator down here, which we lost all of our calculator styles too because they were relative to the modal. Why would I do that to myself? Hey, calculator. Okay, we're gonna take all of this and move it out of the modal. Don't need modal content. And this is just in case I want to bring the modal back. I don't think I do, but just in case. So anyway, we got all of our styles back for the calculator. I'm trying really hard to enunciate calculator because it's a really hard word for me to say. And I don't know why, but it is. Okay, so our calculator is back. And now I need a way to be able to tell the calculator that it's allowed to, you know what? I know how to do this. Let's not use isolated CSS for the calculator draggable area stuff. Ooh, a question from Links Grün Vergift. Links Grün. Anyway, what do you think about Maui? Some of my colleagues think it'll be the next big UI framework, and some think it'll be gone in a few years. That is very debatable. Well, I lived in Germany for a while when I was like 3. I was born in Germany, and then I moved away with my parents. My parents moved away, and I went with them, and then went back to Germany again when I was around 6 or something. Anyway, so I should know how to pronounce some things, but it's been a really long time. Moving on. Not sure about the next big thing, but it's certainly not going anywhere. I don't know about certainly not going anywhere, though. I don't feel as confident about Maui as I do about Blazor in general. So Blazor, again, just being the UI framework, the way to write UI using Razor syntax. I think that's going to be around for quite a while. It's not going to go the way of Silverlight. Maui, on the other hand, I still think that there are a lot of things that are awkward about it. It's heavy as well, and they may be like, we need to fully revamp this, so scrap Maui, just like scrap Xamarin, scrap Silverlight, and then rebuild it. But there will be something that will take its place as a multi-platform application project type. However, I do see it being around for a while. Again, if a thing is not used, then they are not going to pronounce it like a 3-year-old German. He wants to hear it. I don't know how I would have pronounced it then. I probably would have just said, life is stupid. Probably something like that. Anyway, because the whole point behind a whole bunch of these changes, why Silverlight went away and why something else went away, or, in general, is typically because when there is no use, there is no reason to invest money in it. So scrap the project. No money equals no project. So if people don't use Maui, then it does have a possibility of disappearing. But right now, I think a lot of people are using Blazor. Enough people are using Blazor, at least, that won't be going anywhere for a while. And that's just one aspect of it, one factor. Will this app be free for anyone? It is currently available on the GitHubs as open source. There. Thank you. Thank you, Dukasoft. So you can see the entire source code. I don't plan on putting it behind any kind of paywalls. I'm not making this as a professional app. This is our stream pet project. We're having fun with it. We're just trying to do everything that we can in a way as if you were going to make this a for real project that's application that would be released to the world and sold and stuff, which includes doing things like design, architecture, test-driven development, using GitHub, and using a branching strategy that makes sense as if you were on a team working with other people. So we create issues, we name our branches based off of those issues, we do them one at a time. Why is this one still open? Because I still have more unit tests to create, I guess. So we're currently doing this one. And so what you'll see is that my branch name is 32 dash and then a short description of the thing. I've seen slashes, completely acceptable as well. So 32 slash short description of the thing. And then we are doing pull requests to get the code into main. And we have, thanks to Thindle, which we shouted out earlier, a pipeline or GitHub action that does, when we have our actual unit test written, it will do all of the unit test stuff, but it also does the build process for us and prepares everything. We may eventually set up a release process, but I don't have anywhere to host it. I don't plan on hosting it anywhere since it requires a database. It requires you to enter financial information, and I am not any kind of accredited to protect that kind of information as a personal person. So it's up to you to set up your own database connection and user secrets and app settings. So the whole process for getting started with this is you clone the app, you set up your connection string, you pick a project type that you want to run it as. Do you want to see it in Maui Android, which is not fully working, by the way, but it will eventually? Do you want to see it in Maui Windows, Maui Mac? Do you want to see it as a WPF app? Do you want to see it as a Blazor WASM app, which would be setting the API server as your starter project? Or do you want to see it as a Blazor server project? App thing. But all of them are in here. One UI to rule them all, which is Blazor. BitGamey's so BitGamey had a man, I'm polluting this a little bit. I'm gonna get rid of this project, but it was a lot of fun. I'm actually gonna move it out so it's its own project, but I don't want to have it in the financial management tracker. But he has a landing page, and I just kind of ran through it, said here's some things you could do instead of using a table for making it look the same. It was just for fun. I deleted BitGamey. No. There is no deleting BitGamey. C drive. Repos. Git. One line. Yeah, Fananman. Source. Fananman. BitGamey and LandMe. Move that to repos. Local. Busta. Okay, so that project's going to be fine on its own. Cool. Yeah, absolutely feel free. There are a few issues that I don't necessarily need to do myself. We'll do it on stream, but I just created them so that we had something for people to contribute to if they wanted. Our calculator unit test came from Peter, live coding in chat, which I am very, very grateful for, and I've been having a lot of fun adapting it to our extra test cases. So I like the way you set it up. You have said things about the way you set it up before where you're okay with it, but you think it's the dirty way, but I love it. I think it's a really clever way of doing it, and it works beautifully. All of our tests are currently passing, which is why we're doing this UI stuff. And now it says they haven't been run. That's a lie. Anyway, so yeah, clone it, change the connection string. Oh yeah. I guess that is really important. So if you are going to clone this app and change the connection string and all that stuff, then the very first thing to do after that is to use the database migrations. So find the database solution folder, the database migrations project, set as startup. I really should put this in the README, and I will. And then use either .NET EF migrations stuff, or if you're more used to it, package manager console, which I'm more used to it this way. Make sure to set database.migrations and update database. And mine should say that I'm up to date. Except that it's not going to build because the app is running and it'll be like, files are in use. What are you doing, man? Oh, come on. He's frozen. What's Twitter? Oh man, you knew that I would have said that. So Peter said, I'm seeing Maui doomerism on Twitter. What is your take on Maui's future? I think the only thing triggering the doom and whatnot is the retirement of ES on Mac. Again, mine would all be based on, would they have a business reason to not continue supporting and developing Maui? At the moment, I don't think they do. But what happened with the MRTK? Not enough people were doing HoloLens development, and so they're like, we need to reduce, and one of the places we can reduce is the MRTK development. But it also sounds like maybe they're outsourcing that entire project. I think it was you that told me that, Deflex. What's Twitter? Exterminated? Same as Twitter's future. Non-existent. Okay. Why is... Okay, good. No migrations were applied because database is up to date. So anyway, doing an update database after you clone the repo, do the... or fork, up to you. If you're going to do work on it, fork it so that you can do a PR to get your changes. Update the user secrets, and I told all of the projects to use the same user secrets ID. So if you change the user secrets for the migration project, it'll also update the API project because it's the same file. It'll also update the server only project because it's the same file. And those are the three projects that use the user secrets. But if you are not wanting to use user secrets, then you could do the app settings in each of them individually. But yeah, I don't recommend it. Not one bit. Okay, so we'll continue on. Actually, no, we won't. I am done for the day. Settlix is online, so I'm going to turn him up and unmute multi-stream. And turn down finite. Oh, cool. But I'll try to. Cool. Yeah, that's everything though for today. We will continue on doing the draggable container. The thing that I need to remind myself of before we end the stream is that we're going to, where did top bar go? There you are. Okay, we're going to take this out of the container. Topbar.razor.sass is going to be, this is not going to be here. We're taking the rules for how to style the draggable container because again, if it's inside of a container, we can't really drag around inside of that container the way that we'll want to because we'll want to drag around the whole screen. So we have it at the root level. I want to style it using global styles at this point. So style draggable component here. And again, the reason that I'm going to style it here, draggable container, is because it is a child of another component. And if I try to use the isolated CSS from that component to target a child component, it's not going to work. This : deep must be for a child component that's inside of another HTML element. So it would need to be like this in order for me to use : deep. All right, that's my tidbit for today. That's my one-liner. That's, I don't know what else to say. But yeah, so the thing is though, that on Friday, we have Community Day. So Friday will be the next day that I'll stream, but Fridays on our channel is Community Day, where we invite people to come into Voice channel on Discord and hang out with us and have verbal communications, verbal conversations. If you're interested to see what a community day is like, just check out any of the previous recordings on the YouTubes, where a recording of this video will be placed no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream. Friday is what you meant to put. Fries. I really want fries now. We are going to raid over to Settlix, and I did raid him recently, but he's doing .NET stuff, and the only other people that I am currently lurking on their channels, other than Microsoft Developer, are doing game development, or like in the case of Finite, he's doing OBS development using using C. He's writing it in C currently because he's working on this blur filter thing. It's really cool stuff though. Definitely check out Finite. Check out Code Red Games is the other one. In about 30 minutes or so, Irish John will be streaming. Check him out, except Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday of this week. Anyway, he's taking 2 extra days to do other stuff aside from Sunday, but check him out. All of the good peoples. But for now, I'm setting up the raid. His stream, according to the message that just showed up in my Twitch chat, says that his channel is intended for certain audiences, mature audiences. So if you're not into that, then you can hop off the raid. But otherwise, join us over there. We'll be hanging out, having fun. His stream has a lot of fun interactions, but he's currently working on the bot, so I don't know how many of them are offline or not. But we'll be over there shortly. That's it for me. See you guys the next time you're around, whenever that may be. Bye for now.